One of the most exciting dreams recorded in the Bible is the dream of Jacob. So here Jacob is leaving his home. He's going to find, essentially, to create his destiny. And on the way to his uncle, he lays down and has a remarkable dream. This is not just a dream, it's actually a prophecy. He dreams about this ladder that connects heaven and earth. He sees angels going up and down. He hears the word of God assuring him of his future, and he wakes up and he's so impressed and enthralled with the experience that he makes an altar, and this is recorded in the Holy Chumash. We read it yearly, and we meditated about it many, many times. If I ask you which part of the dream do you find most intriguing or perhaps most exciting? Some would say, wow, that's cool. I never saw angels. I'd love to dream about an angel going up, going down. Someone else would say, well, to hear the voice of God with a clarity, that certainly is the highlight of this dream/prophecy. And someone else might suggest, I wonder how big this ladder was. It just kept on extending upwards. But I have to share with you an insight that the rabbis of old have pointed out. One of the most important parts of the dream is not the ladder going upwards, but the way it's recorded in the Chumash. Vesulam mutzav arza. And the ladder was fixed firmly on the ground. And this is a remarkable teaching. See, you could dream about angels. You could actually have a vision of gazing upwards and higher. But if you're not firmly anchored on the ground, it's nothing more than a dream, an imagination. But if you're anchored on the ground, if you dream about a ladder, not merely that it's going upwards, but you could see it firmly fixed on earth, then perhaps this is not only a fanciful dream of imagination. Who knows? If you dream long and hard enough, maybe there's a 60th of prophecy. Let me bring this down in very, very practical terms. If a fellow has never been able to hold a job more than 2 weeks, and you see him sitting on a park bench, and he's gazing into the future, you say, my good man, you look so deep in thought. What are you thinking about? He says, I'm thinking about if I would be the manager of a large company, how I would enhance the production of it. And you think to yourself, wow, this guy is, he has big thoughts. He's quite open-minded in estimating how his capabilities are. What do you think his chances are of running this large company? Well, I would say probably very close to zero. He's never held a job in his life, cannot be disciplined enough to wake up before 11 o'clock in the morning. How is he going to run a company? However, if perhaps someone who's a conscientious worker for 4 or 5 years, loves the company, is very much involved with the company, and you see him on a lunch break, and he's sitting on a park bench, and he's gazing upwards, and he is fantasizing. And you say, what are you fantasizing? And he says, I was wondering if I ever ran the company, how I would do it. That person, my friend, has more than a fighting chance. There's a statistic. There's a probability, though it might be low, but at least it's not a fantasy. You see, because he has his feet rooted on the ground. He is working. He's working in that company. He reads up on that company. He's interested in that company, but he sets his goals way beyond his present condition. Well, his situation can change if he has a strong will and obviously with the grace and with the help of God. Or try someone else. Take a student who drops out of a school in middle school and basically is a street kid. And you see him one time underneath a tree with a beer, and you say, what are you thinking about, my good man? And he says, I'm thinking about one day running Harvard. And of course, you would laugh. But if a person is a valedictorian and then has a drive for excellence and desires greatly and succeeds greatly, that person again has a chance. So obviously we are taught, aim for the stars, maybe you'll get to the moon. But you certainly have to have a launching pad to do that. Some of the more common statements that we say is, before you run, you got to learn how to walk. And then before you walk, you got to learn how to crawl. What we're simply saying is, be realistic, be honest, be intelligent. Don't try to run if you still don't know how to walk. The same is true, by and large, with spiritual growth. If a person essentially has not yet been privileged to read the Hebrew, and you meet him on the street and you say, do you admire Jewish people? He says, yes, I've always admired Jewish scholarship, and I one day would be the teacher of all of Israel. You would say you're setting your expectations very, very high. It's not impossible, but it doesn't seem to be very likely. However, if a person, again, spends his time and puts his passion into study, and then has a dream of becoming a great Torah scholar or a great halakha scholar, that again is a dream which might have a 60th, that's the expression, a touch of prophecy. Maybe it will come true. Now, everything that I said, I stand by, except once a year we're taught that everything that I said is false. And that is this holiday called Pesach. Passover in English, or Pesach more correctly in Hebrew, actually means not to pass over, but to jump over. And this is based on the idea that when the Hebrews were still in Egypt, God jumped over their houses, Moshe Diluk. He jumped over the houses of the Hebrew, and he saved them, and instead punished the wicked Egyptians that might have been neighbors from both sides. Now, isn't that a beautiful name? To jump, to leap. You know, when we talk about walking, you always have one foot on the ground, and that's the way it should be. When a person jumps, the definition of a jump is you're in the air and there's nothing solid underneath you. Yes, my friends, both feet are off the ground. And here we are taught a very powerful teaching. God says, yes, there is incremental growth, there is intelligent growth, there is a system of growth, and I'm going to give you a gift. It's called freedom. It's called Passover. It's called jumping, leaping, soaring. It means get out of yourself. Get out of your Egypt. Just break out. You say, well, I don't know. I don't have the background. I don't have the culture. I don't have the family. I don't have the support system. And God says, I'm giving you 7-8 days. It's a holiday. I jumped over the houses to teach you something. You could leap, even if you can't walk. You could jump, even if you had never crawled. Yes, there is a window of opportunity that opens up during this period of Cheres, of freedom, the Festival of Freedom. And Festival of Freedom includes not only freedom from physical slavery, but also from emotional bondage and from self-restricted walls that we build around us. So, irrespective of whether or not you put on tefillin last week, or whether you're an expert in Talmud today, for both of us, for all of us, we're looking forward to this wonderful holiday of freedom, because we know that if we jump, we will not fall. God will hold us, and from jumping, it will turn into leaping, into soaring, and who knows where it might end. Shalom. I wish you a happy and a kosher Pesach.